Hey everybody, it's your old buddy, Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. Guys, this is show 206. Today's date is February 26, 2018, and the name of the show is Baby Steps. Oh, and guys, also, we got a live call-in tonight. Damn it, I forgot to call Uncle Joey, but you know what? When we do our first video, I'll call Uncle Joey. I'll tell him to call in because I know you all want to meet him. Anyway, you'll get to hear his voice. We were going to try to do Facebook, but we didn't get that done. But you know, guys, I just want to show everybody the power and the influence that our show has. And guys, even though we only had, we don't have many views, but we have the right people that are watching us. And our last show was called A Badge of Shame. And if you want to watch it, you go on YouTube, show number 205. And guys, the point of the last show was to hang a badge of shame around any politician that accepted a contribution, a donation, or better yet, a bribe. Any politician that accepted a bribe from the NRA, we would hang a badge of shame around them so that people wouldn't vote for them. And guys, a lot of people said, Uncle Rich, you're wasting your time. People won't buy this issue. You're not going to be able to get people to budge when it comes to guns and gun control and the fact that guns are the ultimate problems. So people said, Rich, you're not going to get people to budge. But guys, guess what happened? Uncle Rich, and Who's Telling the Truth, can move mountains. And here's the proof. And look what happened. Judy, clip one, please.
We will require all individuals purchasing firearms to be 21 or older. Let me repeat. We will require all individuals purchasing firearms to be 21 or older.
What's that?
There will be exceptions for active duty and reserve military and spouses.
You mean you're changing your
National
position?
Guard members and law enforcement.
Guys, you heard it right. Judy, just so I can pat myself on the back and prove to Uncle Joey and everybody else that this show moves mountains. Can you play the clip again?
We will require all individuals purchasing firearms to be 21 or older. Let me repeat. We will require all individuals purchasing firearms to be 21 or older.
21 or older. Something you said you couldn't do. And guys, I tell you, of course, we don't know. We don't know if I was the ultimate factor. But you know what? Nobody can say I wasn't. And as long as that's the case, I want to take advantage of it. But guys, one of the most troubling things when it comes to having people do things is, where do they get their first step from? So Judy, can you bring up still number 2, please? And guys, this is from Lawrence Krauss. And Lawrence Krauss likes to start his show with this. And Judy, still 2, please. Guys, and we're going to play a clip from Lawrence Krauss, and I tell you, he's taught me so much. But he likes to start anytime he gives a debate or anytime he gives a lecture, he likes to start with this. The initial mystery that attends any journey is, how did the traveler reach his starting point in the first place? Judy, come back to me. So guys, the way we started we got to the first place was these kids. Unfortunately, these kids got shot. And this is the one time where all these mass killings, we're not going to sit back, and we're not going to send our thoughts and prayers. We're going to take action. We're going to make things happen. And for once and for all, I'm going to say the one thing that nobody has the Galaducci's to say. It's time to get rid of guns. What? My Second Amendment. Guys, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You want to have an assault rifle? There is no place in humanity for an assault rifle. It's a weapon of war. You want to have a revolver to protect you and your family, a shotgun? That's a horse of a different color. We don't need assault weapons. And guys, the next clip is going to show you how we can have a little bit of fun with baby steps. And guys, I don't know, a lot of people might not have had the opportunity to see the movie What About Bob? But I tell you, there's so much fun, and with Richard Dreyfuss, and anyway, we'll play the clip, you'll get the idea, and then you'll start to say, hey, wait a minute. So this reminds me of some of my Republican friends. So Judy, can we have what baby steps really are with clip number 3?
It means setting small, reasonable goals for yourself, one day at a time.
Kurt, can I get
One
some volume
tiny
out here?
step at a time.
Baby steps.
Rich,
For instance,
we're doing the show
when you
live.
leave this office, don't think
Oh,
about
I'm
everything
sorry.
you have to
No,
do
don't be
in order
sorry.
to get out of the
You just
building.
told me we're
Just
playing
think
our
of what you
first
must do
clip.
to get
So
out
I'll
of
call you
this
back.
room. And when you get to the hall, deal with that hall, and so forth. You see?
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Oh, boy.
Baby steps. Baby steps. Baby steps through the office. Baby steps out the door. It worked. It worked.
Step.
All I have to do is take one little step at a time, and I can do anything. Baby step around the office. Baby step around the office.
That should give you a lot to digest while I'm on vacation.
Vacation?
Oh, certainly, my secretary told you. As of this afternoon, I'm taking my family on vacation until Labor Day.
That's a month. What if I need you? What if I need to talk?
Well, my associate, Dr. Harmon, would be happy to talk. And Bob, I'll be back. Just read baby steps.
Baby steps out of the office.
Very good.
Baby steps to the hall.
Very good, Bob. Keep going. That's it. Bye. I'll see you in a month.
Baby steps to the elevator. Baby steps to the elevator.
July 31st, Bob Wiley, introductory interview. Multiphobic personality, characterized by acute separation anxiety and extreme need for family connections. Bill the usual rate for the interview and $29.95 for the book.
It's your publisher? He says Good Morning America is definitely coming to Lake Winnipesaukee.
Yes!
Lake Winnipesaukee. Oh,
Thank you.
mama. He's afraid of elevators.
Baby step onto the elevator. Baby steps into the elevator. I'm in the elevator.
Guys, if you haven't seen it, the whole movie, it's dynamite. It's What About Bob? Bill Murray. By the time Bill Murray gets done with Richard Dreyfuss, he needs a psychiatrist. But guys, you know, getting back to the guns, and, you know, we always try to make a little bit of fun in the beginning of the show. But, you know, I'm listening to some of these kids, and I'm saying to myself, I'm just flabbergasted at how, I'm not going to say brilliant, but I'm going to say well-schooled. How's that sound? Well-schooled for my homeschooled friends and buddies. Little Stevie, the homeschool champion, he doesn't know if he's coming or going, and hey, forget about when it comes to global warming, these people, I tell you. But anyway, uh, you know, Lawrence Krauss is a guy that's changed my life, and I didn't know who he was 4 years ago. But the internet has expanded my horizons. And the first clip we're going to play is, it's quite obvious that some of the kids are getting their influence from people like Lawrence, who is, man, he's written like 9 books. He's changed my life. He's turned me into a critical thinker. That's why Uncle Joey doesn't like me. But guys, we're gonna start with Lawrence Krauss, and just listen to what he has to say about the atoms in your body and the universe and the standard candles and how we're able to do things that just 50 years ago were inconceivable. But the thing is, science advances, we advance, we change, you know, we improve, things get better. So anyway, let's see where some of these kids are getting their ideas from. And guys, this clip is going to blow you away if you haven't been introduced to Lawrence Krauss yet. So Judy, let's have number 4, please.
I put this quote up here. Well, I like to have quotes from people when I'm being introduced so people have something to read. But it's kind of useful, I think, because I'm going to talk about our modern picture of cosmology and how it's changed our view of the universe, the past and the future. And in some sense, how that picture is clearly remarkable, and far more remarkable than the fairy tales that are made up in most religious situations. But the key point is mystery. That's one of the things that makes science so special, I think, is that scientists love mysteries. They love not knowing. That's a key part of science. The excitement of learning about the universe. And that, again, is so different than the sterile aspect of religion, where the excitement is apparently knowing everything, although clearly knowing nothing. Now, in any case, so that's one of the reasons why I put this quote up here. But I am going to talk to you about a mystery story. The problem was trying to measure distance, because he didn't have good standard candles. And that's, as I say, been the holy grail, if you wish, of cosmology over the last century. And we now have standard candles. Here's one. I wish there was better resolution on this projector. It's a beautiful picture from the Hubble Space Telescope of a distant galaxy, far, far away and long, long ago. And there's a whole galaxy. It's about 1 billion light years away. We're looking at it as it looked 1 billion years ago. So many of those stars no longer exist. And here's an object that's just as bright as the whole center of the galaxy. You'd think it's a star that's near in our galaxy that just got caught in the picture frame. It's not. It's a star on the edge of that galaxy that has exploded. And exploding stars shine with a brightness of 10 billion stars. They're the brightest fireworks in the universe, supernovae. And they're remarkable, and I keep having asides. Maybe I'll get to my point eventually. But this is something that I wrote a whole book about, and someone asked me yesterday why I wrote that book. Because it is the most poetic thing I know about the universe. Richard wrote a great book called, what's it called? Our Ancestors? What's it called? Ancestor's Tale, yes. I wanted to make sure I got that right. And I wrote a book that was a different Ancestor's Tale. It was called Adam. But the amazing thing is that every atom in your body came from a star that exploded. And the atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand. It really is the most poetic thing I know about physics. You are all stardust. You couldn't be here if stars hadn't exploded, because the elements, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, all the things that matter for evolution weren't created at the beginning of time. They're created in the nuclear furnaces of stars, and the only way they can get into your body is if the stars were kind enough to explode. So forget Jesus. The stars died so that you could be here today. Okay? And anyway, this is great. Anyway, so the point is, the real point of the reason I showed this picture is that these objects, these exploding stars, are great standard candles. We can actually observe them amazingly, even though only one occurs every 100 years per galaxy. There are enough galaxies that if you put your hand up in the night away from LA and looked in a dark spot in the sky and made a hole the size of a dime, with a large enough telescope you could see 100,000 galaxies. And that means that even though stars explode once every 100 years per galaxy, in that little region with 100,000 galaxies, on a given night you'll see 10 stars explode. The universe is huge and old, and rare things happen all the time, including life.
Rare things happen all the time, including life. Guys, let's be honest with each other. The fact that we're here, that's the miracle. You know, when you think about it, I mean, the numerically, the fact that we're here it's mind-boggling, you know? And I tell you, a lot of times I'll listen to people like Lawrence Krauss and Richard Dawkins, and guys, I'll be honest with you, a lot of times I don't know exactly what they're talking about. Let me put it to you that way. But learning's fun. And I tell you, like Lawrence said, less than 100 years ago, we used to think there was one galaxy, ours. Now we know that there's a billion galaxies with a billion stars. Oh, it's never ending. But guys, that's what makes learning fun. But you know what? There are some things that happen that really can drive me crazy, and it's driving these kids crazy. And, you're going to get kids that are educated and intelligent now, and they're going to be insulted by people like Dana Loesch, who was at the CPAC convention. And guys, I want to tell you something. Uncle Rich is usually a very calm, cool, collected individual. But when I heard her spew out this bullshit, I want to tell you, I don't know if I could have stood in the same room and acted like a gentleman with her, because she's an evil individual, and why the Conservative Party and the Republican Party does stuff like this is beyond me. I mean, this is hate inciting bullshit. And guys, I hate to use language like that, and my wife's not going to be happy. But that when you listen to this clip, you'll go, you know what, Rich? You're being nice to her by using that word. She deserves more than that. So, Judy, let's prove my point. Clip number 5, please.
Many in legacy media love mass shootings. You guys love it. Now, I'm not saying that you love the tragedy, but I am saying that you love the ratings. Crying white mothers are ratings gold to you and many in the legacy media in the back. And notice I said crying white mothers because there are thousands of grieving black mothers in Chicago every weekend, and you don't see town halls for them, do you? Where's the CNN town hall for Chicago?
Rifles, you bonehead. She's evil.
Where's the CNN town hall for sanctuary cities?
See how they spin everything, guys?
Where was the CNN town hall for Jamil Shaw Sr., whose son was murdered by someone who illegally entered the country and had been deported repeatedly? Where was his voice? Where was the voice of those junior ROTC members last night, CNN? If it bleeds, it leads, but it has to be the right people from the right communities at the right time. I'm really looking at a lot of the legacy media back there on the platform, and you can write whatever you want about me, and you can come find me in the hallways, and you can scream at me, and you can try to confront me, but I'm here, we're not going anywhere. I call BS.
You call BS, and you're not going anywhere. Want to bet? Guys, anybody that takes a bribe from the NRA, if you vote for them, you're more crazy than they are. And it's that simple, and that's what this coming election is going to come down to. If a politician accepts money from the NRA, he doesn't get a vote. That's pretty simple. You've got a choice to make. Politicians, go to bed with the NRA and insist on selling and making profits from assault weapons and murders of war, or make sure you don't vote for them. It's that simple. I mean, you don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to figure this one out. And guys, the ultimate game plan will be to get rid of assault weapons. We don't need them. There's no need for them. It's crazy. Why? So somebody can make more profit? What are they good for? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And guys, let's see. The next clip is the kids calling out the bullshit, calling out Dana on the bullshit. And kids, this is what's got to happen. When someone like Dana gets ridiculous, what do? Come on. When somebody is ridiculous, you ridicule them. Simple. Don't be nice. Don't be mean. Don't curse. But from now on, we're not going to take it anymore. We're going to ridicule you. And why? Because you've been brainwashed. And the NRA, what are they? You think they're the National Rifle Association. Guys, they're not an associate. They're a lobbying group. Plain and simple. That's what they do. They lobby to have, so people can have the rights to be able to buy their products regardless. They don't care. And this is the problem. So if you're with me, and if you're with Uncle Rich, then you're going to say, listen, before I pull the lever, before I mark my ballot, have you taken any money from the NRA? And, we're going to show you a clip. Marco Rubio couldn't fess up, couldn't man up, couldn't say he wouldn't do it. Why? Because this is how they get reelected. They can't. And we're going to show you how much money they take. Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun, guys. But like I said, this next clip, when they get ridiculous, we ridicule them. So, Judy, clip 6, please.
She isn't living in reality. How dare she?
How dare she? You believe this? Sparks an outrage. She got Uncle Rich going. Back-to-back appearances defending the NRA, speaking to supporters at the conservative political. She slammed the media.
Many in legacy media love mass shootings.
Yeah.
You guys
Mother
love
loves
it.
seeing her kids killed.
Now, I'm not saying that you love the tragedy.
You are saying.
But I am saying that you love the ratings. Crying white mothers are ratings gold.
You really are an evil human being. Critics were quick to point out problems. Just said the media covers mass shooting because crying white mothers are ratings gold. What she's really saying is that moms who lost a child, crying white women, further proof that right-wing racists are gaslighting when they pretend to have no concept. Stole a rallying cry
Politicians who sit in their gilded House and Senate seats funded by the NRA telling us nothing could have ever been done to prevent this. We call BS.
I call BS.
You call BS? Well, guess what? You call BS.
The shooter at our school obtained weapons that he used on us legally.
I understand you're standing up for the NRA, and I understand that's what you're supposed to do. But you just told this group of people that you are standing up for them. You're not standing up for them until you say,
Explain to me how an 18-year-old with a military rifle is well regulated.
People who are crazy should not be able to get firearms. C.
She, again, tiptoed around questions and dodged the yeses and the nos. That is indicative to me as to what I think the NRA is going to do for this movement and for the people of Parkland. who honestly I think are fed up.
Guys, yeah, we call BS, but you know what? The kids are starting to ask the right questions. And what's the one thing that we love to surround ourselves with? Questions. And the next question is so appropriate because I got to say one thing. I got to hand it to Rubio for having the Galaducci's to go down and meet with the kids. But what he did was he exposed what a lying sack of crap he really is. And now he'll do nothing. He'll do nothing that if the NRA asked Rubio to do anything, they got his vote. Why? Because they paid for him. And we're going to get to a clip later on. We're going to show you exactly who got what in the Republican Party. And you're going to go, wow. You mean they spent $30 million to bribe the Republicans? Yeah. And there probably was some Democrats. But you know what? I don't care who you are. You take a penny from the NRA, you don't get a vote. It's that simple. All right. So let's see how Marco sold himself out with clip number 7, Judy.
Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future?
A teenager gets serious with Republican Senator Marco Rubio at CNN's town hall. Cameron Caskey is a student at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida, where 17 people died last week in a shooting.
In the name of 17 people, you cannot ask the NRA to keep their money out of your campaign?
I think in the name of 17 people, I can pledge to you that I will support any law that will prevent a killer like this.
No, but I'm talking NRA money.
No. On live television, he continued to press Florida's junior lawmaker about whether he'd accept money from the NRA.
People buy into my agenda.
Rubio would not commit to turning down NRA money.
And I do support any law that would keep guns out of the hands of a deranged killer.
But did say he would support legislation raising the age limit for buying a rifle. I'm Lee Sheps for InsideEdition.com.
And guys, when you ask a question, don't let them off the hook until they answer the question. Don't let them dodge. No shucking and jiving. Look them right in the eye, ask the question, and don't give up until you get an answer. Guys, I tell you, that's why I watch CNN a lot. I love to watch Chris Cuomo. Well, I tell you, he takes no prisoners, and he refuses to let anybody off the hook. But the next clip we're going to show you is the Republicans that are on the take. And guys, when you see how much money these guys take from the NRA and why they're committed to doing what the NRA tells them to do. If the NRA says we want to lower the legal age limit, these guys will jump through hoops to do it because they're financially committed. And that's what I hope everybody is finally starting to understand. It's all about what? The money. Nothing else but the money. And why the NRA is such a lobbying group is just beyond me. But guys, let's see who takes what and who gets the embarrassment and who really gets to wear the badge of shame. So Judy, let's have clip number 8, please.
About reaction from Washington, though, because as with most tragedies, of course we're hearing from lawmakers, and this time it's no different. Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy tweeted his sympathy and prayers, saying his heart goes out to the victims and their families. But for fact's sake, according to the Nonpartisan Center for Responsive Politics, the NRA spent more than $2.8 million on Cassidy throughout his career. That includes campaign funding and ads attacking his opponents. Ohio Republican Senator Rob Portman tweeted about the heartbreaking news, sending his prayers. Prayers were important. Portman also has benefited from $3 million in support from the National Rifle Association. Iowa Republican Joni Ernst asked her followers to join in prayer for those at school and thanked first responders. And those first responders do deserve thanks. But the NRA, they boosted Ernst's election efforts to the tune of $3.1 million. Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who sought the Republican nomination for president in 2016 and spent the day tweeting updates, called it a terrible day you pray never comes. His campaign benefited from $3.3 million in funding and opposition attacks, thanks to the National Rifle Association. Colorado Senator Cory Gardner tweeted his heartbreak for the situation and prayers for the first responders. But the $3.9 million of NRA funds have been spent to boost his campaign and attack his opponents. Arizona Republican and a great American, John McCain, tweeted his prayers just a short time ago. The National Rifle Association has spent more than $7.7 million on John McCain, the most of any lawmaker by far. Florida Governor Rick Scott ordered flags to be lowered to half-staff, calling the shooting a senseless tragedy. Scott, who is up for re-election this year, he enjoys an A+ rating from the National Rifle Association.
He doesn't anymore.
Vice President Mike Pence, he tweeted about heartache and prayers in the wake of the shooting. He's got an A rating with the NRA and enacted a number of laws as governor of Indiana, including legislation allowing firearms to be kept in vehicles on school property. President Trump tweeted his prayers, adding, "No child, teacher, or anyone else should ever feel unsafe in an American school." Well, the NRA spent more than $21 million supporting President Trump in his 2016 election. Almost $10 million in ads and other pro-Trump material, and $12 million attacking Hillary Clinton. The thoughts and prayers are with the victims. The dollars and cents are another story. MSNBC's Garrett Hake is live on Capitol Hill. Garrett, we've heard a lot about thoughts and prayers. We have heard from people like Paul Ryan. We've heard from Ted Cruz. We've heard from Marco Rubio. I know you have not had an opportunity to speak with them, but it already surprises me when Paul Ryan says what a tragedy this is, but we cannot have a knee-jerk reaction. I'm confused to how Paul Ryan defines knee-jerk, since nothing has happened since the 25 school attacks since Columbine, since Steve Scalise was shot during a congressional softball practice, since the Pulse nightclub shooting and the Vegas shooting. So knee-jerk, I don't really know the definition of. I know what jerks are. Knee-jerk, I guess I'm unclear. What are you hearing?
Well, Stephanie, what tends to happen in these cases is that Congress gets caught up in the moment. They get caught up in the particular issue of any given shooting, and they start to act, and then they stop. So after Newtown, remember, there was a whole conversation about improving the background check system. That lasted for weeks. It failed. After Las Vegas, we were talking about banning bump stocks. That conversation has gone essentially nowhere. After the shooting at the Texas church, there was a conversation about improving the National Instant Criminal Background Check system. That actually did pass the House. It has languished in the Senate. So in each of these shootings, there has been this feint towards action among at least one House of Congress, and then at the end of the day, nothing. So what you're starting to hear now, what I think is somewhat different about some of these other events, is a certain degree of moral outrage from some senators that I've spoken to this morning, including Kamala Harris from California. Take a listen.
What I'm going to say is going to sound a bit harsh. As a prosecutor for years, in appreciating homicide and being able to talk with a judge about it and a jury about it, I had to look at autopsy photographs. When you see the effect of this extreme violence on a human body, and especially the body of a child, maybe it will shock some people into understanding this cannot be a political issue. We have to be practical. I support the Second Amendment, but we have to have smart gun safety laws. And we cannot tolerate a society and live in a country with any level of pride when our babies are being slaughtered.
So, Stephanie, the question is, can that level of outrage be sustained, and can it be translated into anything on Capitol Hill? History says no, but everyone here, I think, is hoping perhaps this time's different.
Garrett, we've got to have more than conversations. It's certainly time for action. I think we need to bring some of those very eloquent high school students from down in Florida. Maybe they need to take a visit to the Hill.
Can that level of outrage be sustained? Yes. Yes. Especially when you have the youth of America that has the energy and the vitality to get behind an issue like this and say, hey, wait a minute, we're done. We've had it. We don't need this nonsense anymore. There's no reason for it. And guys, you know, we showed you who's on the tape. But you know, there's one guy who's never on the take, and that's my buddy Bernie. So Judy, let's hear what Bernie has to say on this whole issue. Number 9, please.
On the NRA, and that is my view. The tragedy that we saw in Parkland is unspeakable, and all over this country, parents are scared to death of what might happen when they send their kids to school. This problem is not going to be easily solved. Nobody has a magic solution. All right, but we have got to do everything we can to protect the children.
What does that mean? You say everything we can. What does it mean?
Yeah, look, Chuck, what I just told you is that for 30 years, I believe that we should not be selling assault weapons in this country.
Bernie.
These weapons are not for hunting. They are for killing human beings. These are military weapons. I do not know why we have 5 million of them running around the United States of America. So of course we have to do that. Of course we have to make it harder for people to be able to purchase weapons. We have people now who are on terrorist watch lists who can purchase a weapon. Does this make any sense to anybody? Bottom line here, Republicans are going to have to say that it's more important to protect the children of this country than to antagonize the NRA. Are they prepared to do that? I surely hope they are.
Bernie, let me tell you one thing. The Republican Party is prepared to do one thing. Take your money. That's all they care about. Money, profits, making sure the NRA continues to profit. And the hell with your kids. Hey, you know what? Our thoughts and prayers are with them. But guys, now we're going to hear from our senator. Yeah, that's right. And I tell you, you know, after what happened in Sandy Hook and everything, you know, well, you know what? Sometimes it's just better to hear the clip itself than rather than have me say anything. So guys, this is Chris Murphy, and if there's anyone that knows about kids being slaughtered, it's the senator from Connecticut who was a congressman at the time for Sandy Hook. And we all remember what happened there. So Judy, let's have clip number 10, please.
Supportive of the idea of arming teachers and others inside schools. Is that part of the solution, do you think?
You know, that's an insane idea that will make our schools less safe, not more safe. It's a creation of the gun lobby. The gun industry for years has called on societies to arm themselves in order to protect themselves, which belies all the evidence that tells us that communities and homes that have more guns are more likely to be subject to gun crimes, but it has the benefit of allowing the gun industry to sell more guns. My bill with Senator Cornyn is a good bill, but let's be clear what it does. It just compels states to comply with existing law. It actually doesn't subject any additional sales to background checks. That's what Americans want. And so I hope that we'll, you know, have a full debate on the Senate floor about the ways in which we can better protect our kids and, you know, all citizens of this country.
You know, if you look at FBI statistics, so many of the deaths in school shootings take place in the first couple of minutes, really in the first 6 minutes or so. Oftentimes police response time is about 6 minutes or even maybe more in some cases. The argument for arming teachers or others in the school is that you then have more guns in the school that can potentially fight back. You say it's just a recipe for disaster. Can you just explain why you think so?
Well, it's a recipe for disaster because what happens when you arm teachers is, one, you put a whole mess load of guns close to kids that can be used accidentally. Second, you create crossfire that can get a lot of innocent people killed. Third, you make it hard for police who are responding to figure out who the good guy is and who the bad guy is. And fourth, there's no evidence to suggest that this actually works.
Guys, by bringing more guns into school, what could go right? I mean, really, what could go right? And speaking of what could go right, what's right with Trump? Because he endorses this idea. You know what? All they want is more guns. We don't care how you get them. The answer is more guns, and I'm here to tell you that guns are the problem. But guys, let's take a look at Trump, and this is at the White House in front of a room full of people, and he's going to try to fix everything, and watch how he screws it all up. Judy, clip 11, please.
It only works where you have people very adept at using firearms, of which you have many.
People very adept using firearms.
Coaches, if
You
the
mean
coach had a
seasoned
firearm
pros,
in
right?
his locker when he ran
Mr. Trump,
at this guy, that coach was
professionals.
very brave. Saved a lot of lives, I suspect. But if he had a firearm, he wouldn't have had a run. He would have shot, and that would have been the end of it. And this would only be, obviously, for people that are very adept at handling a gun.
Very adept at
And it would be-
handling a
it's called
gun. Okay.
concealed carry, where a teacher would have a concealed gun on them. They'd go for special training, and they would be there, and you would no longer have a gun-free zone. Gun-free zone to a maniac, because they're all cowards. A gun-free zone is let's go in and let's attack. Does anybody like it? Right? Yes? For Meadow, your beautiful Meadow. We talked about that. And do people feel strongly against it? Anybody? Anybody? Strongly against it? All right, I mean, we can understand both sides of it. And certainly it's controversial, but we'll study that.
You're going to study what? Judy. There you go. Okay. So, guys, as you could see, you know, what could possibly go wrong? So let's go into a school and let's look at an instructor teaching his kids how to be a good user of a firearm. So, Judy, clip number 12, please.
This is a Glock 40. 50 Cent, Too Short, all of them talk about Glock 40. Okay, I'm the only one in this room professional enough that I know of to carry this Glock 40. I'm the only one. So, is everybody all right? See how that can happen? It can happen to you, and you can be blown away. Okay? So guys, never play with guns. You see this gun right here, guys? Listen. See this gun?
Everybody's running.
Not everybody has an aptitude for a gun, but if they have the aptitude, I think a concealed permit for having teachers and letting people know that there are people in the building with guns, you won't have, in my opinion, you won't have these shootings.
Okay, I'm the only one in this room professional enough that I know of to carry this Glock 40. I'm the only one.
Bueller. Bueller.
I'm the only one in this room professional enough that I know of to carry this Glock 40. I'm the only
Oh, boy. What could go right? Right, guys? And Trump wants to have these in schools. And, guys, you know, it's just about everything that Trump does, he gets asked backwards. And if you want to go to show 203, you can see how we showed how they get everything asked backwards. But, guys, the next clip is going to be from an old-time favorite. And this was sent in by our clown friend, Janina. And this is from Archie Bunker. And how, just listen, how him and Mike and how Archie gets it all ass backwards. And guys, you know, We used to laugh at ourselves when we got it wrong. You know, now you got people like Uncle Joey and Little Stevie and Ronnie Smith, Eddie Shaluk. These guys are so brainwashed. They're so thoroughly convinced that they're right. They don't even want to use the internet to look it up. And if they do look something up, where do they look it up? On a conservative website. And what does that conservative website do? It only confirms what they're already thinking. So they gravitate to what their state of mind is. They gravitate towards like-thinking people. If you think like me, if we're on the same page, I'm with you. So anyway, let's watch Archie and Mike and watch how Archie gets everything ass backwards. Judy, clip 13.
Oh, gee, this big mouth again.
This station has always...
Why can't you give it a rest?
Well, this is an evil that we have permitted for too long.
Don't tell me the big mouth is talking sense could change.
Quiet, will you? The state must be willing to buy back every gun in private hands.
Uh-oh.
He's talking about guns. Only by enforcing even tougher gun laws can the tide of violence and death be halted. Guns must go before more of them go off.
Well, that's where you're going, buddy.
Guns must be regulated.
Hey, what are you doing that for? What the hell you have to say that? He's a fairy like all them gun control guys.
I'm for gun control.
Tell it to her. Maybe she'll get the marriage and know.
Archie, what do guns have to do with maleness?
What do guns have to do with maleness? Duke Wayne, buddy.
What?
Clint Westwood there, buddy.
What are you talking about?
Harry Cooper, Sergeant York. I could go on and on and on, but it do no good because talking to you is like casting pearls into wine. Tell that the old lady Heitziger down the street no guns. She'd have been glad to have a rod when them two burglars busted in on her last week, Irene.
Archie, how do you expect an 88-year-old woman to go around carrying a gun?
I don't know. She can carry it in her elastic stocking next to a very close friend. All I know is as an American, it's my right to pack a rod.
Bull!
What do you mean, bull to the Constitution?
It doesn't say that in the Constitution. I'll prove it to you. I got a copy of it here in my history book. I will.
It's right there in your Second Amendment.
I'll prove to you. You don't know what you're talking about.
You just look it up. All I know is my God-given right as an American to have a gun in the house.
It is not, Archie. The Supreme Court ruled on that as far back as 1939.
What the Supreme Court says ain't got nothing to do with the law.
All right, here it is. Amendment 2. I'll read it to you.
I'll read nothing. I can read myself. What does it say? Here. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Read that.
Wait a second, you didn't read all of it.
I read it all.
You did not. Look. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. A militia, Arch, that's what it says right there.
Listen, buddy, I don't pay no attention to no Constitution in them pinko books of yours.
Did you know that 65% of the people murdered in the last 10 years were killed by handguns?
Would it make you feel any better, little girl, if they was pushed out of windows?
Wow, that's convoluted logic.
Yes, and that's the kind of straight thinking I'm trying to put across here.
Daddy, how can you be against gun control with all the assassinations? Look at it, the Kennedys and Martin Luther King. And what about the shooting of Governor Wallace?
I'm saying, maybe Governor Wallace wouldn't have got shot if he had a rod in his miss.
What?
Because the governor was there. He could have shot first.
Archie, what would he be doing walking around in a crowd with a gun?
What was the other bum doing in the crowd with the gun?
Ridiculous, Archie. You're talking about a human being who may be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life.
Yes, and if that human being had a rod, then the other human being would be in a wheelchair.
Hey, All in the Family used to be #1. I mean, it was, and I can remember looking forward to watching it because you could, hey, I tell you, Archie Bunker's like Trump. You don't know what's going to come out of his mouth. But guys, the next clip we're going to show you is how somebody tries to get it ass backwards, and I'm talking about Jack Kingston, who's he's not in office anymore, but I want to tell you, this guy is evil. He's Republican. He stands behind the NRA, and when you listen to what he has to say, you're going to go, yeah, you know what, Rich? You're right. He's evil. So, Judy, let's have clip number 14, please.
You're serious? You think these kids aren't acting on their own volition?
Their sorrow can very easily be hijacked by left-wing groups
But do you think
who
it
have an agenda. Well, let's ask ourselves, do we really think that, and I say this sincerely, do we really think 17-year-olds on their own are going to plan a nationwide rally?
Yes.
Jack, I'm sorry, I have to correct you. I was down there. I talked to these kids. These kids were, Jack, these kids were wildly motivated. I talked to these kids before they knew the body count of how many of their friends had been killed. No, Jack, no one had talked to them yet. They hadn't been indoctrinated by some left-wing group. They were motivated from what they saw and what they endured.
I don't doubt. I don't.
Brandon, what's it like when you hear people say, you guys don't know what you're doing, you must be having help from somebody else?
I think it's very despicable that he would even have the audacity to say that. Young people all across this country and over the world should know that they have the power to make things right, and especially in the wake of a tragedy, we really show who we truly are. So to say that just because we're young we can't make a difference is not right, and he should apologize for that.
How does this kid immediately post-tragedy start citing statistics and use words that only a politician would use in order to spin? Look at this sleazebag.
Delaney, have you been hearing this?
Absolutely. I think with any movement there comes this amount of hating and trolling and people telling you that you're just a little kid, you don't know what you're talking about, or you're a puppet. But ultimately, we have to move past all of that because the amount of support that we're getting is so overwhelming compared to everything else.
Guys, I'm telling you, the kids are going to make the difference. And the next clip, we're going to show you a clip from Sheriff Clark. And I don't know if you remember this creep, but he wanted to get involved with the Trump administration so bad, and he someone that was in one of his jails died of thirst. How is this possible in today? I mean, how much hate do you have to have for your fellow human being to have them die in your jail cell of thirst? How evil do you have to be? Well, guys, let's meet Sheriff Clark, and let's see what type of guy he is. Judy?
Yeah, it's a huge spring break destination too, Florida, and people need to feel safe where they are. There have been a few people who've attacked you guys. David Clark, who is no longer a sheriff because someone died in his jail, and there were other scandals that sort of forced him out of his role in Milwaukee, big-time right-wing activist and Trump supporter, tweeted, the well-organized effort by Florida school students demanding gun control has, all caps, George Soros fingerprints all over it. It's similar to how he hijacked and exploited black people's emotion regarding police use of force. You know, ironic for him to tweet that. And the cop-hating Black Lives Matter movement. What do you make of that?
You disgust me, honestly. Just with what? Seriously, we had friends that died there, and you're trying to make this about you. You are absolutely disgusting, and you should be out there taking action because we are trying as hard as we can here, and we don't deserve to be attacked by adults. We're literally teenagers, and the fact that we have to stand up and take action, and the fact that we have to be up here speaking out for this because our politicians won't, because they just want to be reelected, screams testaments to how broken this democracy is.
Yeah, not to mention Donald Trump Jr., son of the president, liking a tweet calling you guys crisis actors.
It's just ridiculous to all those people who don't think this is real, and if you don't think it's real, you just have to stand out there at those memorials. The other day, I spent personally about 4 hours either at the school or at Pine Trails Park just in silence, not speaking to anybody but the people that were there, taking their time to be there, and you have to see their faces because it is not just the politicians that can do something here, it's the people, and the people have to stand up and won't be silenced.
Let's talk about the march that you guys are planned on March 24th.
All right. So, Judy, how much time do we have left now? Too beautiful. All right, guys, we're going to finish this last clip. There's going to be a march, March 24th on Washington, and it's going to be all over the country. So, guys, we're going to finish up with Ellen, and she's going to explain where the march is going to be. Oh, and guys, by the way, Martino's Pizza, they were closed because a car ran into them, but they're back in business. So, Marco, I want to say hi to you and the kids. They redecorated the whole shop. Guys, a car ran into their pizza shop, went through a stop sign. Hey, stuff happens, but Marco's reopened. So stop by and tell them you saw us on Who's Telling the Truth. So, Judy, let's have clip number 16 for the march.
This march on Washington is happening
March 24th.
March 24th. Tell everyone what is happening exactly.
We're going to march on Washington.
Okay.
Speaking of which, we have some product placement for you.
Oh.
What?
We made shirts, you guys.
All right.
What? So if you can't make it with us, you can wear it with us.
All right.
If you can't make it, you can wear the T-shirt. That's a deal.
The thing that inspired us to create the march was people saying, you are all talking about gun control, and this is not the time to talk about gun control. This is the time to grieve, the time to mourn. And we understand that. And we said, now might not be the time to talk about gun control. Here's the time to talk about gun control. March 24th, we are going to have so many people in Washington, D.C. So many cities have created their own branch of March for Our Lives. They've all been reaching out to us. They've all been not reaching out to us and taking it into their own hands. It's amazing the universal support we've gotten. I mean, it's proof that this isn't red and blue. This isn't generation versus generation. This is the 97% of people who believe that we need to take steps here together.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with what side you're on.
All right. So, guys, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to come in and talk about, you know, baby steps. And I hope this was a good show. I hope we learned something, you know. Judy, how much more time we got? Time to say goodnight. Guys, I have no idea what's going to happen next week, but with Trump in office, something's going to happen. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.